The question asked today is how should coaches handle low training motivation when the expected physical race performance doesn't happen? So I think the background scenario to this is an athlete, a competitor, a performer is coming up to an event. They've done a lot of training. The coach has a fair amount of quantification of their ability to perform. Maybe even during practice and training, they have done the performance that's required. Uh, and so they're going into the event with specific expectations. But then, for whatever reason, during the event, the performance didn't happen. It either was less for some reason it was less. So how do we handle that? Not only that, but also the psychological effects of that experience for the athlete. And there's two folds because there's two aspects. There's a physical performance aspect, and there's the psychological knock-on effects of having an unexpectedly poor performance. For the psychological aspects, practicing acceptance in the in the strong feelings. We as athletes, even as coaches, we don't just sign up for some sort of a competition expecting a poor performance. Sometimes we sign up for competitions expecting to use it as like a workout or a learning situation or a training scenario, and not walking into that situation expecting to be on the podium or otherwise to have an outstanding performance. But we never sign up to measure ourselves against other people and be like, I'm going to get dead last, or I'm going to not finish the competition. That's not something that we have a tendency to do. And so when we have performances that don't align with our expectations, especially if we have recently in practice demonstrated that our expectations are founded, we're gonna have some real critical thoughts. Uh, we're gonna have some strong emotions, and as a coach, modeling accepting those as part of the process, uh, building a opportunity to acknowledge that, like, yeah, that event was important to us, and so of course we're going to have strong emotional responses if we didn't perform in the way we expected. That can allow the athlete to engage in that same kind of accepting behavior and to recognize that there is something meaningful to them, and channel that energy less channel that energy away from fighting the judgment and towards trying something to have a better performance. Okay. And that kind of leads into the second part. How do we address the unexpected performance? Well, we look at the situation, we make a reasonable hypothesis as to what may have contributed to the unexpected performance, and we try something different. Mhm. It's a very it's a very empirical kind of method, but that's what we do as coaches. We gather data, we make a come up with some reasonable explanation for that data, and we make a prediction and we gather more data. Right? Kind of the scientific process right there. Sometimes that data aligns with a meaningful performance that doesn't go well. And so we look at that, we come up with some sort of hypothesis about why there's this disalignment, right? Try something different, gather more data. Right? Usually it takes a couple of attempts. Clients might have a few rough events, and hopefully you're building skills to work constructively towards it. Hopefully you have more than just single data points about performance at events to demonstrate or to parse out what is event related and what is client related. And as you work through this iterative process, hypothesis, prediction, gather data, check back on hypothesis, make a new prediction, you will dial in more and more on the things that work for the client. And very likely you will make incremental progress or maybe breakthrough progress for the client so that competitive performances are much more in line with practice performances.
Editing Pat here. Currently getting the full court press for a doggy dinner, so I'll make this quick. First of all, thanks for watching. I hope this video was useful, and I hope this series is useful. I'd like to ask you to share any questions that you have if you're a coach or an athlete, whether you want to post them in the comments or email me directly at patrick@coachpatricksmith.com. That'd be great. If I decide to use one of your questions, I'll make you a deal. I'll give you an hour consultation with me for free. So post your questions, the best ones that I use for videos. Their authors will get an hour's consultation with me. Yeah, thank you again. And here's a couple of videos that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy.